Runway just released video to video in Gen 3. But the question is, how does it compare to Runway Gen 1? One of the world's most advanced deepfake tools finally hit beta, and Lionsgate just signed an AI deal that has huge implications for the future of Hollywood. This is your AI film news of the week. So we're going to kick things off by talking about the big announcement from Runway. Runway released video to video inside of Runway Gen 3, and there have been some pretty incredible examples from around the industry. In the announcement video, we have this guy that's just like walking on a treadmill in some funny styles. We have this guy that has like funny ears, and it did a pretty good job. We also have this scene of like New York where they just style transfer it into different styles, which looks pretty darn good. We saw some pretty interesting examples over on X. For example, we have this scene here where someone went in and they basically rotoscoped out a hand to create this kind of like VFX Terminator 2 aesthetic, which looks pretty cool. This person used video to basically put themselves on Mars, which is kind of cool. This guy converted his Nerf gun into like a plasma laser and like a futuristic like machine gun thing, which looks pretty great. And we also have this shot from Able Art where he's just like changing his character into all sorts of different characters and using the old like cardboard trick for doing video to create like props and things like that. So pretty delightful. To use video to video in Runway, all you have to do is go to the Runway website, and this actually lives inside of Gen 3. It's not its own separate thing like Gen 1 versus Gen 2. And now you need to just drag and drop your video footage. It takes video files up to 64 megabytes. So we have this shot of this guy dancing, and I should note that this clip is actually longer than 10 seconds, and Gen 3 video to video can actually only generate video clips that are 10 seconds long. So just keep that in mind. It will crop to be 10 seconds long, which isn't a problem in most cases, but just something to keep in mind. Now, you can type in a prompt, which is totally available to you, but there is a specific way in which you can get maximum quality from video to video. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to custom presets, and you can see that there's all these different presets that you can select here. I'm going to go ahead and select the claymation one. And you can see that there's kind of a specific way in which Runway wants you to create your prompt. So it defines the style, and then just many times over, we'll talk about the specific aesthetic that you're going for. And then in this section here, you just type in your prompt. So we'll say a man dancing, and the rest just reinforces the overall aesthetic that we're going for. So as you can see, it really needs a lot of reinforcement to create a really good prompt. So we'll go ahead and click generate. And after about 1.5 to 2 minutes, you'll get a video clip. I have this shot of this like claymation character, and his head is just like jello moving around, which is great. We have this shot here in a claymation style that looks, yeah, not bad. We have this one in a dramatic style. So it just kind of changed it into a more dramatic landscape. All right, I guess like haze makes things more dramatic. We also have this shot here of a felt puppet, and apparently that felt puppet is wearing like some felt Daisy Dukes, which is great. We have this shot that we converted into a glass aesthetic, and yeah, there you go. Now, I actually created a custom GPT that is basically designed to create prompts for Runway video to video. You'll find a link below this video. You can access it completely for free. And you can just type in an aesthetic that you're going for, and it will create the prompt to use inside of Runway. So we'll say spaghetti, and go ahead and run that prompt. And you can see that it will basically create a prompt that you can use inside of video to video. We'll paste in the prompt and then change out the section that says your prompt here with our own prompting, a man dancing. And let's go ahead and generate that result. Okay, let's take a look at our shot here. We have this man dancing made out of spaghetti, and I gotta say, it did a pretty good job. It's not perfect, but not too bad. I think Will Smith would be proud. Now, I did want to test this version of Runway against Runway Gen 1, so I have this video footage of basically this guy snowboarding, and I wanted to create it in a claymation style. So using Runway Gen 1, it gave me this result, which isn't super claymation-y, but kinda, I guess. But using the new version, we have this result, which looks great, and it even has like a rack focus there. The character looks pretty darn good. Again, it's not perfect. There is some weird warping, but honestly, if you look at the background, it kind of does look like a claymation version of a mountain. I think this is really interesting because video-to-video workflows empower people to upload footage and essentially render it or change it into a different scene or style. So it really unlocks the power of visual effects and world building on a budget. The team at OpenAI released ChatGPT 01, aka Project Strawberry. Now, you may have heard the news from this announcement. Essentially, this version of ChatGPT is really good at science and math. So for example, on the International Mathematics Olympiad, which of course we all know very well, ChatGPT 4 got a score of 13%, whereas ChatGPT 01 got a score of 83%. So this is a dramatic improvement when it comes to mathematics. The responses that you get from ChatGPT 01 take more time than previous versions of ChatGPT because it literally has to think about the answer. So on average, it takes about 30 seconds to generate a response. And from a cost perspective, this new model is about 3 to 4 times more expensive than ChatGPT 4. Now, we went in and tested the tool and realized that ChatGPT 4 is actually just as creative as ChatGPT 01, so we will continue to use ChatGPT 4 here at Curious Refuge, but I highly encourage you to test out 01 to see the creative possibilities. There was some really funny news that came out this last week regarding APIs. So if you're not familiar, that's totally fine. An API allows you to basically connect online tools together with other tools. So the team at Runway released their API page, allowing people to essentially connect to Runway to create third-party applications that utilize Runway's technology. Now, this includes image to video, video to video, and a lot of the features that you have come to love with Runway. The only caveat is you need to make sure that you include the little button that says powered by Runway anytime you use their API. Now, what's really funny is the team at Luma released their own API integration just a few hours later on their website. What's really interesting though is if you look at the pages, they're almost identical. Like this is the Runway page. Okay, we see the Runway page, looks beautiful. Build enterprise. We have like 3 panels that like talk about how to get started, some examples of using it in action, and just normal website stuff. If we go over to the Dream Machine API page, we have build and an enterprise button. We have capabilities, we have documentation on what it can do, and just generally they feel very similar. Now, I'm not saying that one team copied the other. Websites tend to look similar whenever you are selling an enterprise product, but it is very interesting to see that so many of these tools are coming out with features and competing with one another. And in my opinion, this is a good thing because more competition will make these tools more available and ultimately will help to drive down the price to make them more approachable to us as artists. We came across a really interesting piece of future technology this last week called Loopy. It was developed by a team from China, and essentially this tool allows you to upload a reference image and audio, and it will animate the face, which is very similar to tools like Hedra. The thing that makes this very unique, though, is the physics with the characters look really incredible. Let's take a look at a quick example. We have this one of Taylor Swift.
Sometimes it can feel like a tightening in your chest or a weight on your shoulders.
So you can see that even her earrings have weight behind them. And the thing that makes this really interesting is this isn't pulling from like a background plate where all the characters' animations are going to be the exact same. It's actually creating custom animation for every single piece of reference audio that is uploaded. So it's a unique take every single time. Now, my only feedback is if the tool is using an image where the character is looking at the camera, they will just be looking directly at the camera without any eye deviation whatsoever, which is coming across as a little threatening, I'm not gonna lie. Now, this tool is really cool because it also does non-human results. So for example, we have anime styles, and you can see it did a pretty good job. We have this sculpture here. You can see it animated the sculpture, which looks great. It also is animating paintings. Like we have this shot of the Mona Lisa, and you can see the physics, like as her hair is moving in relation to the background, there's like the parallaxing, and it looks more realistic than some of the other tools that we've seen up to this point. Now, unfortunately, this tool is not available to us just yet, but the good news is I created a tutorial this last week that shows you how to control emotion using AI and live portrait. You'll find a link below this video to check out that tutorial. It's a really fun workflow, and it can get you results that are somewhat similar to what you see here with just a few mouse clicks. We're also super excited to announce the second annual AI horror film competition here at Curious Refuge. We are challenging you to create an incredible AI horror film that is due by October 18th. Be sure to check out the rules page over at Curious Refuge. The team at Flawless AI released the beta version of their deep editor. Now, if you're not familiar with Flawless, they really are a leader out here in Hollywood when it comes to deepfake technology. Using their tools, you can change an actor's performance, you can swap the words that they say, you can even localize content into other languages in a very realistic way. Now, one of the reasons why Flawless really stands out is simply the fact that they are really thinking deeply about the ethics of using this tool. They have an entire pipeline for consent as it relates to talent and editors to make sure that people are not saying the words or giving performances that are not approved by their team. You can sign up for the waitlist to get access to Flawless AI by clicking the link below this video. Executives at Lionsgate signed a deal with Runway to essentially train a custom video model for the Lionsgate team. This has huge implications as studios are increasingly more willing to use AI in their production pipelines. Now, this model is only going to be available for the Lionsgate team, but I imagine that we may see some AI Hunger Games in the very near future, which honestly is a pretty good title for the year 2024. I'd also like to shout out a few AI filmmaking events that you should know about. First off, I'd like to extend a thank you to Runway for hosting an incredible Los Angeles meetup this last week. Runway is also hosting other meetups around the world. You can check out our AI film events page to learn more. The community at Curious Refuge is also hosting AI meetups around the world in places like The Hague, Stockholm, and we may have a meetup happening in Austin very soon. Shelby at Curious Refuge will also be speaking at an LTX Studio and Creative AI Network event in London on September 27th. If you're curious about attending that event, you'll find a link below this video. And that brings us to our AI films of the week. So the first film that I want to shout out is actually an advertisement that was the winner of our AI advertising competition that we hosted in partnership with Vika. The winning submission was created by Simon Meyer, and it's really just a really funny story of somebody drinking culture pop soda inside of an office, and it follows a really compelling story. Now, picking a winner for this competition was incredibly hard, but if you're curious about what our judges thought about each of the final submissions, you can check out the video that we dropped yesterday where they review the submissions. The next film that I want to highlight is called A Kind World, and it was created by Dale Williams, who goes by The Real Robot. So this project is really interesting, not only because the story is captivating and fascinating, and there's just like really good prompting and generations, but specifically, this project features a really compelling conversation scene between two characters. So obviously, we see some lip syncing in professional projects, but I think this is a good example of characters talking to each other in a way that feels very compelling. Our next project that I want to highlight is called Mad Minimax, and the name really implies what's inside this project. Essentially, it's kind of a Mad Max-inspired AI trailer that uses Minimax to create the results. And I gotta say, the generations look pretty darn impressive. The VFX are really compelling, and obviously the shots aren't perfect. There's definitely things that would need to be rotoscoped and changed, but some of the shots and definitely certain aspects of the scenes look basically realistic, and all you really need is a decent AI upreser to convert the shot, and honestly, it looks like it could be inside a high-budget blockbuster. And our final project of the week is Breathkeeper, created by Particle Panic. So this project essentially follows a woman as she hears a spirit, and like the spirit transcends multiple generations. And it also features some really nice film grain and some consistency stylistically between the shots that just showcases a higher level of curation. So fantastic work on this project. And I should also note that Runway Gen 48 wrapped this last week, so you can check out the gallery over on their website to see some of the submissions from that competition. Okay, thank you so much for watching this week's episode of AI Film News. Now, you can get AI Film News sent directly to your inbox by just clicking the link below this video, heading over to Curious Refuge, and when you fill out your information, you will get a free AI filmmaking course for signing up. You can also like and subscribe to get more AI tutorials and training directly here on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. That's all, folks, because I look like a Looney Tune with the background. Yeah? Okay, never mind. All right, I'll just sit here and you can just move on to the next video. Okay.